Alvin Kamara has been sensational, and the Saints have been hot, hot, hot. But did they finally break our top five? The Eagles have continued to roll over just about everyone, but what do we expect from them in the second half of the season? The Broncos were the Eagles' latest victims. How far did they fall this week, and how did they end up back to Brock Osweiler as their starting QB? The Seahawks were stunned at home by the Redskins. Are they a real competitor, or can they only go as far as Russell Wilson can take them? The Raiders seem to have their team back on track after a nice win in Miami. Are they a team to look out for in the second half in a weak AFC? The Texans look like a complete mess without Deshaun Watson. Is their season officially over, or is there a little hope for H-Town? The Pats and the Steelers were on a bye, but they'll be back this week for some big-time matchups. We go 32-1. It's NFL Power Rankings time here on Chat Sports.
Man crates, awesome gifts for men in real wooden crates, wrapped in a cocoon of duct tape, or housed in ammo cans that are virtually indestructible. Some gifts he'll get to assemble himself. Some gifts you'll beg him to share. And some gifts are sealed inside layers of rock-solid concrete. Gifts guys love, from grilling gear to old-school video games and more. Man crates, awesome gifts for men.
Hello, friends. Welcome into NFL Daily. A little bit earlier than normal, Harrison, for good reason. The breaking news that came across the wire: Ezekiel Elliot, the
Here we go again.
Reinstated. He will not play until the Seattle Seahawks game on December 24th. More chaos for his Cowboys.
I thought we were done, but
just when you think they're out, they pull you back in.
You pull me back in.
Yeah.
And here we are, Tom. The Ezekiel Elliott suspension has pulled Chat Sports back into it. I mentioned this when we were doing our live update. No company in the world has covered this like we have covered this, and here we are again. The Ezekiel Elliott suspension is back on.
So we'll talk a little bit about this here for those of you just joining us. Ezekiel Elliott, again, folks, the suspension has been reinstated. What we mean by that is that Zeke he's not going to be able to play right now.
No.
And not that there's another appeal coming later this week that could reinstate it. It's that no, he's suspended right now. He's not going to play this week.
Yep.
There's a chance there's another appeal hearing that comes across before the 6-game suspension is over. But as of right now, folks, Elliott is suspended, and it seems highly likely, Harris, he will not play the next 6 games.
And it's pretty wild. If you look at their next 6 games, they have a lot of tough ones coming up. They go up against the Falcons this weekend, like you mentioned. Then they go the Eagles, Chargers, Redskins, Giants, and the Raiders. So those are 5 good football teams right there outside of maybe the Giants. But not maybe, it's definitely the Giants. But look, those are 6 tough games. And I think the Giants, no matter how bad the Giants might be, that's an NFC East divisional matchup. And those games are always going to be hard. So those are 6 tough games. Arguably, and unfortunately, maybe the toughest 6-game stretch that the Cowboys will face all season long. He is eligible to return Week 16 against the Seahawks. But looking at those games without Ezekiel Elliott, I think the Cowboys will be thanking their stars that they can get out of there with 2 wins.
I think they're aiming for 3-3 because without Zeke, this is still a quality team. This is not like
this is better.
It's not like all of a sudden, oh, they're the Browns now. They're terrible. It's it's like, okay, they become more along the lines of like, I don't know, a Falcons or Chargers level team.
Yeah.
Like at least this year's Falcons.
And what's really kind of inspires me about this is that winning in the NFL comes down to 3 things for me. Do you have a good quarterback?
Yes.
Do you have good coaching?
Yes.
And do you have good line play?
Yes.
Yes. So if you have all 3 things, you will win in the NFL. Look at all the teams that are good this year. All of them have good coaching. All of them have good quarterbacks for the most part, and all of them at least have decent lines.
There are always some exceptions.
Yes, there will always be exceptions to the rule, but
Seattle has no line. At least
they do have a defensive line.
They have got great defense.
So the Cowboys have the pieces there. Not to mention Dak Prescott's been playing. Has improved this year, and I'm very happy to see. I think,
very good.
To be totally honest, we're at a point where there are only about 7 or 8 quarterbacks I might take over Dak Prescott right now in the NFL.
That's fair. Especially
think
if you're building a team.
Exactly. So I think that this team is definitely taking steps. I think they're better this year than they were last year. I think the defense has come a long way. But without Ezekiel Elliott, and we've mentioned this multiple times when we've been on together, Ezekiel Elliott is the game breaker on your offense. He is what separates you from a good team to an elite level team. It's like if you took, outside of Tom Brady, you take Rob Gronkowski off the Patriots, you take Odell Beckham Jr. off the Giants, you take Julio Jones off of the Falcons. These are the guys who make or break an offense, and Ezekiel Elliott is that guy. And to be totally honest, Dez Bryant hasn't been that guy since Dak Prescott's been the starting quarterback. It's been Ezekiel Elliott. So we're going to need to see an uptick of production from Dez. We're going to need to see Terrence Williams continue what has been a good couple of games for him. We're going to see Cole Beasley get back into the offense, which he did last week against the Chiefs. And we're going to need to see Jason Witten start catching some balls again.
A reaction poll up. What do you guys think about the Elliott suspension? I can't say I'm surprised, Harris. Look, we started this on our Cowboys page. It was very much anger against the NFL. Right now, it's more along the lines of he deserves it. Also, I threw in the I just hate the Cowboys. I saw some honest commenters with those votes, so thank you, folks. I appreciate you guys being honest.
I don't hate the Cowboys, Tom, but like this must be what every non-Patriots fan felt like when Brady got suspended.
Yeah.
Like, yes, victory, take that. So I'm just kind of, honestly, I'm just happy that we're at least trending towards a conclusion. Because for a while there, it seemed like there's just be holds and stays and injunctions and stays and holds and
so
throw the flag.
I should have had a it's finally over option, is what
Yes,
you're saying?
it's finally over. That would be Harris. That's what I would click.
Okay. All right, folks, once again, if you're just now joining us, Elliott's suspension reinstated. He's in line to miss the next 6 games, and I want to add some more background information here to what this is, because I do see, we've seen it time and time again on previous shows in the comments, like, this isn't about whether or not Elliott is guilty of domestic violence. This is not what this case is about. This is absolutely nothing about it.
Yep.
This is all about whether or not the NFLPA and Zeke had an argument about the NFL and the way they went about their suspension. What the courts have decided, at least in terms of giving them an injunction. Tough luck, Zeke. The CBA is this. You can't get out of it.
And to be totally honest, from a legal perspective, it's the correct ruling, because you can't be a country that, what's I'm looking for here, that respects unions and respects labor laws and the idea of a collective bargaining agreement between unions and the employer, and then as soon as you have a massive labor dispute, not go by the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement that the union and the employer agreed on. You can't do that. Like at that point, you're just going to say any CBA can just be thrown out if we don't feel it's right. Like, this is what they agreed upon. And it sucks. It does suck. But they made their bed, and now they must lay in it.
I think that breaking news.
You can't have your cake and eat it too.
On screen right there, that this is not the appeals court saying, oh, NFL, you're right, Zeke is guilty. This is the appeals court saying, NFL, you're right, Zeke doesn't have enough for an injunction.
Yes, and I think when the eventual hearing comes out, I think the hearing's also going to say that. They're going to say, look, we're sorry that your commissioner sucks. We're sorry, but you agreed to this. You agreed to this CBA to give him executive power over suspension.
A pretty significant time ago, this stopped being about whether or not Elliott was guilty of domestic violence, and it became about whether the NFL had a fair process for Elliott.
And they didn't.
They definitely didn't, but it kind of seems like doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And that's kind of the issue that I have with this, is that it doesn't really matter what Ezekiel Elliott's team does at this point. It doesn't really matter what's fair or what's right.
The NFL has the power of judge, jury, and executioner.
And I think it's a huge problem.
And that, folks, by the way, is why when we get to the next new CBA timing, and not that long ago, we've mentioned this many times on this show in particular, I am very confident saying this, there will be a work stoppage.
And I will
you
say,
won't have NFL for
and
at
I'll
least a
say
few
this, with NFL ratings being down and there being a lot of calamity about the actual fan base of the NFL, we'll see how many fans are on the other side. Because at least when it happened in baseball, when the big baseball strike happened back in 1994, there were baseball was at an all-time high, and then you had the strike, and on the other side of that, the ratings have still never recovered. So we'll see.
All right, folks, today's show is brought to you by Man Crates. If you know a guy who needs an awesome gift, give him a Man Crate at mancrates.com. Harris, you've been begging for one as you cough a little bit.
I'm dying here because I don't have a Man Crate, Tom. Like, I'm physically decaying from within because I haven't received a Man Crate yet. It's very, very disconcerting. Like, I'm in a state of shock.
They got barware, jerky grams, project kits, and much, much more. Head over to mancrates.com to get yours today. We'll get now back to your originally scheduled programming.
Let's do it.
Power rankings today and some news and notes as well. Bad news for Seattle, Harris. Earl Thomas, he will not play this week.
Yeah, pretty rough stuff actually for Earl Thomas. Just, he's been dinged up a little bit over the past couple of weeks, but at the same time, it's okay. They can save him because, Tom, I don't know if you noticed this, and we'll talk about this a little bit more as we get closer talking about the Seahawks. Have you seen their schedule the next couple of weeks?
It's not that bad.
Have you seen this schedule?
It's really not that bad, man.
We're like, they lost to the Redskins at home. So they come out of the bye facing the Falcons in Seattle. They're going to win that game. The Falcons have never been able to beat the Seahawks. They then go into San Francisco to play the 49ers.
And then it gets tough.
And then, excuse me. Before that, they play the Cardinals. So tonight, they play the Cardinals on Thursday Night Football. So that's a win. They have to play the Falcons in Seattle. That's a win. And then they have to play the 49ers in San Francisco. That's a win. So they're going to be 8-3 in 3 weeks. So Earl Thomas can miss a couple games, but they need him back for the game that they have against the Eagles at home on December 3rd, which might decide the NFC. We'll see.
Soon as having there. All right, next up here. This is part news and note, part breaking news itself. On Martellus Bennett, he's been claimed, Harris.
The most least surprising news of the week, Tom Downey, Martellus Bennett gets cut. Everyone's like, there's only one team that's going to pick him up, and it's going to be the Patriots. And look what happens. The New England Patriots pick him up. And it makes a lot of sense because from a money perspective, I don't think there are a lot of teams that want to pay a 33-year-old tight end who has a foot already in retirement. Martellus Bennett wants one thing and one thing only. He wants a championship. And once Aaron Rodgers went down, there's no reason for him to be in Green Bay anymore. Zero reason for him to be. He went there to win a Super Bowl.
Outside of the contract that he signed.
Well, yeah, but come on. Let's be real.
Just saying.
He went there to win a Super Bowl, so when he gets cut, the only teams that he's actually going to go to would be a team that has a chance to go to the Super Bowl and also a team that has an open tight end slot. And, Tom, I don't know if you know anything about Dwayne Allen, but he has been garbage. Like, straight up, put him in a garbage can and maybe light it on fire. It's been bad. So, Martellus Bennett, perfect fit, not surprising at all.
All right, next news and note. I think this is only going to pick up more steam.
Here we go.
Jerry Jones wants to sue the NFL because he doesn't want Roger Goodell's contract to be extended.
Is this his official, challenge to become the NFL commissioner?
This is the warning shot across the bow, but I do not believe he wants to be the commissioner.
No?
I do not believe that.
I think he does.
Because he likes owning the Cowboys.
He wants to do both.
Can
you do both?
No, that's a conflict of
do
interest.
both?
You cannot do both. You cannot do both.
Is there a law in the NFL that says you can't do both?
The other NFL owners will say, no, Jared.
Oh, that's true, because they has to get voted in. That's true.
You think John Marr or any of the Eagles or Redskins owners, Dan Stein's going to be like, no.
No, they're not going to do it. That's fair enough.
Bob McNair's not going to let him. No way.
Yeah, we should listen to what Bob McNair.
Mike Brown will do whatever gets him the most money.
Should listen to what Bob McNair has to say, but you're right.
All right, folks, once again, I'm Tom Downey alongside me, Harris Rubenstein. Again, folks, the breaking news, Ezekiel Elliot suspension has been reinstated. He's set to serve that 6-game suspension starting this week against the Falcons. We'll talk more about that in a little bit, though. In the meantime, Harris, time to talk some power rankings. We got sidetracked by that breaking Elliott news, so we start at the very bottom at number 32, and a consistent 32 of late, Harris, the Cleveland Browns. They're just not very good.
Do you know what? You know how bad of an NFL team you need to be for the most likely number one quarterback in the NFL draft to highly reconsider whether or not he should actually get out of the draft to go to your team? That's how bad the Browns are.
All right, we'll keep it rolling then here. We'll go to number 31 on our power rankings. At number 31, it is the San Francisco 49ers, a team that just lacking. Well, first off, they got a lot of guys banged up, Harris.
Yeah, the issue is also with this team is that as good as Jimmy Garoppolo is, they have nothing else on the offensive side of the ball, which, like I told you before, I do not think that this 49ers team is going to start Garoppolo this year. I think they're going to sit on him. Maybe they'll start in the last game of the season. I think they're going to sit on him.
They got to see what they got, at least in terms of their particular offense. We'll keep it rolling, though, to number 30, a team that a lot of people thought could be a playoff team. Instead, it is the New York Giants all the way down at 30. They are just 1-7.
It is the New York Football Giants. The New York Football Giants are #not great. And if you look at what this team has become in terms of just a team, they hate their head coach. They're all complaining publicly. There's a massive, massive issue in terms of player morale. Like the Deadspin article that was released this morning about how the Giants just literally despise Ben McAdoo with every inch of their being. Like, this is a rough part of New York Giants history because, you know what, Tom? This used to be a franchise where this stuff did not happen. It didn't happen.
You're right.
This kind of shenanigans would not happen under Tom Coughlin. But all we've had since Ben McAdoo's come around are a bunch of shenanigans.
We'll talk more about Ben McAdoo here in a little bit. We'll keep it rolling, though, with our NFL power rankings at number 29, Harris. Another team that people thought, hey, they could be a playoff team. Instead, it is the Bucs all the way down at number 29.
Yeah, and it kind of comes back to the fact that, the team has a lot of talent, but this is a coaching issue. It reminds me of it, we've had a couple teams like this over the past couple years. The Tennessee Titans, the point went out. Maybe the Oakland Raiders, who just have a lot of talent, but the coaching quality doesn't match the quality of talent. And I think you look at a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, who the past couple of years, the coaching was behind the talent and the talent was behind the coaching. This year, they're both on the same page. The coordinators are great. Jim Schwartz has turned that defense into a fantastic team. So here we go with the Bucs. They have that problem now.
Of the bottom four teams, Harris, which one has the worst coach? Ben McAdoo, Hugh Jackson, Dirk Cutter, or Kyle Shanahan? I put the laughing for Shanahan because no one's going to pick him.
You know what, Tom? I'm going to do something live for our viewers here because it's something I've actually always wanted to do. So you see how that says Ben McAdoo right there? You see that? Yeah, sorry. That's actually Ben McAdoo to you, Mr. Tom. Ben McAdoo should not be an NFL head coach. I'd be stunned if he actually gets another NFL job within the next 4 years. This is one of the most public locker room outrages we have seen in years. I love it, but he's gone.
I agree with you. He has lost the team. He looks completely lost as a head coach. He looks like he doesn't know what he's going on there. I think summed up.
What a surprise!
Ben McAdoo's best was like, "What'd you show the team at halftime?" He just goes, and doesn't have an answer. That's when you know your coach is completely overmatched.
Not great.
He should be fired tomorrow. I'm surprised he throws a job. The Giants need to get rid of him for their own team's sanity. We'll keep it rolling now here. Outside the top four. Next up, Harris, at number 28, the Indianapolis Colts. They beat Houston.
They did beat Houston. I got to say something, Tom. Do you know who I think is a good NFL quarterback?
You gonna say Brisket?
I think Jacoby Brissett's a good NFL quarterback.
He's like an average backup. That's who he is.
I think if you look at his numbers right now, he's middle of the pack in terms of an overall starting NFL quarterback. His quarterback rating is about 90, which, to be totally honest, Eli Manning's only ever had 2 years of over 90 as an NFL quarterback. So that should tell you how valuable of a stat that is. But
it does, because regular season Eli is actually not that good.
He's highly mediocre. But I'll put it this way. Jacoby Brissett, at this point, is turning the Colts into a great head coaching gig to pick up. Because Colin Cowherd says this all the time, quarterbacks are the greatest form of currency that exists in the NFL. And when you have two that can start, plus Andrew Luck, it's a pretty good commodity right there.
At number 27 now, we'll keep it rolling. The Cincinnati Bengals. They didn't have a good game against the Jaguars. Now they're 3-5. Maybe they can finally, fire a guy by the name of Marvin Lewis.
Just give the ball to Joe Mixon. What do you have to lose at this point? You're 3-5.
Nice idea.
Your offensive play calling is awful. Jeremy Hill can't do anything. Why not just dry it out? See what Joe Mixon can do with 20 carries.
He scored when they gave him the ball.
What happens?
But they're not giving 20 carries again.
What happens if the Bengals give Joe Mixon that amount of carries and they turn it to the Jaguars? Just a great defensive team who runs the ball super well.
Well, their offensive line isn't as good. That's the issue.
I wouldn't say the Jaguars have a great offensive line.
I think it's better than the Bengals. I think you underestimate how bad this Bengals offensive line is.
Probably.
We'll keep it rolling, though. Up next, here we'll head now to number 26 on our NFL Power Rankings. Exact same spot they were in last week, Harris. The Arizona Cardinals fresh off a win over the 49ers. That's like a whatever win right there.
This is an 8-8 football team. They've been an 8-8 football team since the start of the year, and they're just incredibly average. The reason we have them so low at 26 is because I literally don't think any of us can possibly muster the want or the need to actually make this a good team. It's the Arizona Cardinals. They're boring. Everyone's old. The defense is super average. It's not a great team.
Yeah. All right, we'll keep it rolling here now to number 25. And the number 25 team this year in the NFL, Harris, we have the Chicago Bears coming off the bye. They could beat the Packers and all of a sudden be 4-5.
I have all right. So I told you before the show that I had a couple of hot takes.
You did. I assume that they're garbage.
Hot take number one: the Chicago Bears are fun. The Chicago Bears are a fun football team, and I am looking forward to watching them play football this week.
I am not looking forward to watching them play a garbage Packers team.
I am excited.
Why? Are you a masochist?
No,
Like, what's wrong with you?
You get Mitchell Trubisky, you get Tariq Cohen,
Do you know
Jordan
why
Howard, a good defense. This is a fun team.
Do you know why they're not fun?
Why?
Because their offense is awful.
No, okay.
That's what's fun.
All
Not
right.
watching a bunch of defensive stands.
All right. No, this is a good offense that's improving. First of all, the total offense number, Tom, you know how I feel about total offense. You know how I feel about yards. Yards are for fans. Yards aren't real. They don't make any sense. Yards are not needed. However, the Chicago Bears this year are going to get better as a scoring team once they can learn to throw the ball. But Tariq Cohen's sweet, Jordan Howard's fun, and go Mitchell Trubisky.
Whatever.
Go Bears.
All right, let's recap the NFL power rankings so far. The Browns are at 32. The Niners are at 31. The Giants take the number 30 spot. The Bucks round out the bottom 4. At number 20 are the Indianapolis Colts. The Bengals at 27. The Cardinals at 26. And the Chicago Bears are 25. That's what we've got for you so far. We'll get back to the teams coming up next year in a little bit. Before we do, though, once again, I'm Tom Downey. Alongside me is Harris, Rubenstein, Zeke. We're going to talk a little bit more about that for any of you just now joining us. If you haven't heard yet, Elliott's suspension has been reinstated. The New York Appeals Court rejected his request for an emergency injunction. As a result, he is suspended for 6 games. Now, they're going to have that hearing still.
When will it end?
Well, we don't know when the hearing is going to come. So for now, and at least especially for this week, Elliott is suspended. He will not play for the Dallas Cowboys.
This is just a huge crap show, isn't it? You know what? Screw it. This is a huge shit show, Tom.
There you go.
It's what a massive calamity the NFL has put us through. Just time and time and time again, this crazy commissioner decides to go off on a tangent, get all headstrong and stubborn and cocky, and ruin all the fun. We finally got past a lot of the anthem protest stuff. Like, we actually had a good couple weeks of football in there where we could just sit back and enjoy a Sunday of football. But no, now here we go again. The NFL has to ruin everything for everyone. I'm sick and tired of this, Tom. I want to enjoy this sport. I have a lot of friends now who are giving up the sport to just go watch basketball. And you know what, Tom?
What?
I'm annoyed because I want to like the NFL this year.
Yeah, I get it.
I want to like the NFL this year.
It's annoying when you lose a superstar player and it takes a likely playoff team into maybe they're not going to make it because they lost Zeke for 6 games. Look, we'll get to some of everyone's reactions as well.
I'm annoyed.
It does get annoying. Maybe I should have had an annoyed option here on the Elliott suspension reaction poll here.
I'm somewhere in between the wow face of I'm surprised and screw the NFL. I think if you combo those together, it's I'm really annoyed, this is stupid. Because it is. It is really annoying, and it is really stupid. He didn't get convicted of anything. You aren't a court of law. Your name is Roger Goodell, and you clearly don't know how to do your job anyway. So who are you to tell other people that they should be suspended for theirs? I'm sorry. That's what it constantly comes down to for me.
It is. I think it again, folks, it stopped becoming whether or not Zeke was innocent or guilty a long time ago. It became, okay, is he, did the NFL have a fair process? And I think that we can agree that it wasn't a fair process, but it doesn't matter if it's fair or not.
He could very well deserve it. We're getting a lot of hearts. And do you know what? He might as well deserve it. I don't really know, nor do I care. What I care about right now is the fact that we are so far gone from whether or not he actually deserved it or did it or anything that, again, it goes back to the part that, and I've said this multiple times, it is not the anthem protest the reason that ratings are down. It is not the quality of play. It is the fact that the entire league is run by a guy who does nothing but make mistakes. And those mistakes over the years have started to accumulate in a way that is pushing people away from the sport. And here we go again.
I think it's that we just stream everything online now.
That's true. That is also true.
All right, folks. Once again, I'm Tom Downey. Alongside me is Harris Rubenstein. Again, Elliott suspension reinstated. He's going to miss the next 6 games for the Dallas Cowboys. We'll keep it rolling, though, with our power rankings. We'll head to number 24, a team that took a very, very large tumble, and I think deservedly so. It is the Houston Texans.
Tom, do you know what we really need to do? We need to have just like a teardrop coming down from the star. Just a very sad tear coming down from the side of the Houston Texans.
That is a great Photoshop effort, my friend.
I got to say, I really did think that this Texans team was going to make the playoffs with Deshaun Watson. And then there was a part of me that was like, could they make a run with Tom Savage? And then I watched him throw 3 passes in the first quarter, and I was like, nope. Nope, not going to happen.
The
Not
Texans
a good team.
with Deshaun Watson were an easy top 15 team. Some said top 10. With Tom Savage, they're a bottom 10 team.
And it's
a big difference.
And do you know what's sad? Or do you know what's actually great for Bill O'Brien? In the NFL, when it comes to coaching, it's literally go find an elite quarterback or you're probably going to get fired. Bill O'Brien at least found his elite quarterback, so he's not going to get fired at the end of the year, so that's really nice.
That's true. All right, we'll keep it rolling now. We'll head to number 23 on our power rankings at the 23rd spot. It is the Miami Dolphins. The offense is still just kind of bleh.
So you know how I said that I don't believe in total offense, total defense. I believe in points.
Yeah.
As I believe most people should. Guess what the Miami Dolphins rank in points, Tom?
Are they last?
They're last. Guess how many points they average a game?
Like 17.
14.
Oh my God, it's even worse.
14 and a half. This offense is garbage. They're so bad. It's like. It's annoying because the defense is fun. The defense is it's decent.
It's competent.
Sue's having a great year. Wake's having a great year. Yeah. Cordrea Tankersley on the outside is starting to play really well.
Love coming out of Clemson.
Yeah, exactly. The offense is so bad. And do you know what's even funnier? Adam Gase wears his emotions on his face, unlike any NFL head coach I've seen in years. When they go 3-and-out in the third quarter for the sixth time of the game.
Just anger.
His face is like a disappointed father who just picked up their kid from a jail cell after getting drunk. It is just one of the funniest things that you'll see. Everyone keep a lookout for the Adam Gase face.
A surprisingly apt analogy there, Harris.
It's so funny.
We'll keep it rolling now. We'll go to number 22. Harris, I will give you some credit because you seem to be more right on this one than I do. The Denver Broncos. I still think they're going to be better than this, but they have fallen apart after a great start.
Oh, Tom, life is a full circle.
Yeah.
And here we are, back with the Broncos, starting Brock Osweiler with the game at home against the Patriots. It's just like 2 years ago all over
So he's going to win.
Nothing's changed. He might actually win. But this is just, I'm sorry. Look, John Elway's a great GM. I get it. The defense he created, he put together an awful offensive line. But just like Jim Harbaugh at Michigan, you are John Elway.
Yeah.
This is what you have out of the quarterback position. You really thought that a 7th-round pick out of Northwestern was going to be your franchise quarterback? Paxton Lynch, garbage.
The franchise option was Zach Dyser before he got hurt.
Zach Dyser.
I kid.
I don't feel bad for this Broncos team. I don't. They cap-strapped themselves with that defense for the past couple of years. They were never able to get the quarterback position under handles, and they are now blowing the primes of both Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, and C.J. Anderson. And those are 3 players that are really tough to get on the same offense, especially with that quality. They can't get the ball to them. It's outrageous.
We'll keep it rolling. More teams with quarterback issues, although this one because of injury. At number 21, it is the Green Bay Packers. Look,
I was wrong.
Yeah, I tried to warn you.
Hundley's bad.
Brett Hundley ain't going to get the job done, man. And it looks actually, Harris, I'll be honest, it looks worse than I thought it was going to be.
The problem is this. Remember when Deshaun Watson started, they completely changed their offense to revolve around him.
Yeah.
The problem with this Packers offense is that they aren't willing to change the offense to fit Brett Hundley. Nor should they, because Aaron Rodgers might still come back this year. But this offense will not work for Brett Hundley. It just won't. They want him to throw the ball deep down the field too much.
Which he doesn't feel comfortable doing.
They want him to be Aaron Rodgers, but he's not. He's a completely different quarterback.
He had Freddie Nelson for a touchdown, and he just panicked in the pocket and just took the sack.
And also, it really doesn't help. It really doesn't help the fact that they're arguably, I don't think it's arguable. Actually, it is their 2 best offensive linemen just have not played in the past, 5 weeks now?
Yeah, they've been really banged up.
It's tough, but I got to say one more thing about this Packers team before we moved on. I understand Aaron Rodgers is out. I get it. I know. Whatever. He's the GOAT without Super Bowls. I love it. This Packers roster is awful. And the fact that this Packers roster has gotten so bad while Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback of their team is highly questionable. How can you possibly let a roster get this bad while Aaron Rodgers is in his prime? They just have a bunch of guys out there. Devontae Adams.
You can watch the Colts.
Richard Rodgers.
Maybe you should ask the Colts. They did the same thing.
Yeah, and it all comes back on Ted Thompson. I don't know why there aren't more questions about Ted Thompson. Look,
we'll probably get somewhere about Mike McCarthy soon.
His second big free agent signing that he's ever made, Martellus Bennett, cut after 8 games. Yeah, not great.
Not great. All right, we'll keep it rolling now to a team that I really did not think was going to be the top 20 at this point in the year, Harris. the New York Jets.
Pick up the Jets.
And I'll tell you what, they're going to be 5-5 because they're going to be a Bucks team starting Ryan Fitzpatrick without Mike Evans.
Do you know what I love the most about this team? And I'm even saying this, but
that it's ultimate peak chaos theory.
They're having fun. They're having fun. Listen to what I think a big leader for them this year on the offensive side of the ball has been Austin Seferian-Jenkins, which has been awesome to see. What a tight end who just, you would never have thought that sentence would have ever come out of my mouth. But
he was supposed to be good, and then he just had a bunch of issues.
He's been saying all season long that this team is just having fun and going out there and playing their game. You can see it in the defense. The defense is young. It's not exactly poised. It runs very much based off of chaos. But Marcus May, Jamal Adams, Demario Davis, Muhammad Wilkerson, Leonard Williams, these are good quality NFL football players. And right now, their defense has been translating. They run the ball well, and they stop the run. And usually in the NFL, if you can run the ball well and stop the run, you're going to win a couple football games. And they did it against the Bills. The Bills couldn't run the ball. One-trick pony. They stopped the run. They won the football game. Good for the Jets.
Keep it rolling then here to number 19, a team fresh off a loss. It is the Baltimore Ravens. What do you make of this Baltimore team, Harris?
Remember what I just said about the Jets, about how you need to run the ball to win, and then if you can run the ball and stop the run, you might actually have a chance of winning the game? Well, the problem is with the Ravens that they can neither A, run the ball, or B, stop the run. This is probably the worst run defense in the NFL right now. So we'll see what ends up happening with this Ravens team as we go forward. But I'll say this right now with the Ravens, that offense is in big trouble. I keep mentioning that total offense number that I keep coming back to in terms of points scored. The Ravens are averaging 20 points a game this year, which with how iffy their defense has been in terms of giving up points, I know they've been great on turnovers, but in terms of giving up points, the defense has not been good. This is an average football team right now. And I think if you look at where they are in terms of points per game on both offense and the defensive side of the ball, you'll see that it translates to an average football team.
All right, we'll keep it rolling here to number 18 on our NFL power rankings as things stand right now. The Los Angeles Chargers still hanging around a potential playoff berth.
I'm actually pretty surprised that we have them this high at number 18. I'm pretty sure, I've been kind of...
Which is weird coming from you, by the way.
I've been leading the bandwagon this year. I had them actually, I'm actually a little bit hypocrite. I had them listed at exactly 18.
I had them at 20.
The reason I have them so high when it comes to this is because, again, look at the talent that's on that team. I think if you just look at the NFL talent, especially on defense, Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa have been the best pass rushing duo in the NFL this year so far. Not even close. You add two people sack totals together, they're the highest of any combo of any team in the NFL. I think outside in the secondary, they've looked great this year. Casey Hayward has really stepped up with Jason Verrett out this year. I think on the offensive side of the ball, they've started to put some things together, but I think they need to take that next step as an offense for them to actually make the playoffs. They're still, for whatever reason, as an offense that has so many tools and so many players, they're still middling around only 20 points per game, which is very low with the talent level they have on that offense. I think in the second half of the year, you're going to see a little bit of an uptick in the amount of points they'll score, and that might propel them to the playoffs.
We'll keep it rolling then here. We will head now to number 17 on today's NFL Power Rankings. At number 17, the Detroit Lions.
I don't want to say I told you so, but I'm telling you so. Great, they beat a bad Packers.
They're going to be a 9-win team.
They're an 8-win team, maybe.
Does the one win really change who they are?
This is an average football team.
The Lions and Redskins are the same.
And I'll say this much:
they're the same.
No, the Redskins.
The Chargers are probably the same too.
I know, I agree. I don't think you're wrong about that. But I'll put it this way: if the Detroit Lions don't win the division this year, because think about it. Think of the other quarterbacks in the NFC North right now. Ready? Got Case Keenum, Brett Hundley, Mitchell Trubisky.
In his rookie year.
And now all of a sudden you're the Detroit Lions and Matt Stafford, and you can't win the division with those quarterbacks? Are you serious?
It's fair.
This is the first time in his career where I am legitimately going to question Matt Stafford. Usually it's not his fault because the Packers have just always been a better team. The Vikings have had a couple good years in there, and the Lions have always been third place. This is the year the Lions are supposed to win the division. No Aaron Rodgers on the Packers, a relatively easy division and an easier schedule because they came in third last year, and they're 4-4 after 8 games. Questions need to be asked if they can't win the division this year.
All right, we'll keep it rolling here, folks. We'll take you through the rankings that have happened so far, then we'll keep it going after that. The Browns are at 32. The 49ers check in at 31. The Giants at 30. The Bucks round out the bottom
The
4.
G-Men.
The Colts are 28th. The Bengals are 27. The Cardinals check in the 26th spot. And the Bears are 25th. The Texans are 24th. Denver is 22nd. The Dolphins are 23rd. And the Aaron Rodgers Green Bay Packers are 21st. The New York Jets are the highest rated New York football team at 20. The Ravens are at 19. The Chargers at 18. The Lions at number 17. Once again, folks, a big thank you to our sponsor today, Man Crates. If you know an awesome guy that needs a gift, get him a Man Crate at mancrates.com. I'm talking barware, both for NFL and college football barware, jerky grams, project kits, and so much more.
I want that. The jerky grams are amazing.
We had them.
They're
The
so
Gator
yummy.
jerky. The Gator jerky was by far my favorite one.
Gator
By
jerky,
far.
prime time, and then you can never say no to a candy gram.
No,
You
I
get
love
a candy gram, your day is better. It's
I
awesome.
had some candy today.
I want a candy gram.
Yeah, I know you do.
Can you send me a candy gram?
No,
Oh.
you're not awesome enough. Only for awesome gifts. All right, folks. Awesome gifts that guys love at mancrates.com. I think I upset Harris. I'm sorry, buddy. We'll keep it rolling in here. For those of you just now joining us, if you haven't heard yet, Ezekiel Elliott's suspension has been reinstated. Harris, he's going to miss the next 6 games. Huge blow.
I would say I don't really know what to feel anymore, Tom.
You're
I
just
just
numb to
I
it.
just feel empty
numb
inside
to
because
it.
the NFL is creeping me closer to disliking them. It's so annoying how every single time something fun is about to happen in the NFL seems to do something that ruins it. Like, we were supposed to have a very fun NFL season last year, and then for the whole first month of the year, it was Deflategate this, Deflategate that, Roger Goodell this, Anthem protest that, like all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And the NFL cannot get out of their own way, and it's one of the reasons why ratings are falling.
I think it is. And again, folks, we want to remind you all this was only about whether or not Elliott could get the injunction that would delay the suspension until the actual hearing was held. He didn't get the injunction, which I think kind of ruins the point of having an actual hearing, because once he's suspended, you can't get those games back. They're just gone.
Yeah, and to be totally honest, I think he should just take the suspension. Because what happens...
Well, he's kind of out of appeal options right now. All he can do is sit and wait.
Let's say they go 6 games, right? Let's say they miraculously go 4-2. Well, not miraculously. That's not fair to Dak Prescott. Let's say they impress everybody and go 4-2. I think that'd be pretty impressive. All of a sudden, you're currently sitting on a 9-5 football team with 2 games left to go against the Eagles and the Seahawks. Guess what? You can now play all the playoff games. But if they keep pushing the suspension back, all of a sudden you miss out on those 2 huge games against the Eagles and the Seahawks, and you might miss him for a playoff game. And I'm sorry, the Cowboys aren't winning a playoff game without Ezekiel Elliott. They're not. At that point, the buck will stop. So I think we're going to see Ezekiel. I think they're just going to take it. I think at this point, you just have to take the suspension. Like, you can't afford to miss a playoff game. You cannot. That is an absolute no. So if he serves 3 games and then the hearing comes in and blah, 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 and they finally get the suspension taken out, whatever. But take the suspension. It's over. Just take it. It's fine. Brady missed 4 games, and they won 10 of their next 12. It's fine. Take the suspension. You'll be fine.
All right, we'll keep it rolling then with our NFL power rankings right now to the top half of the NFL so far. We'll move now to number 16. At number 16, a team kind of on the rise right now, Harris, the Oakland Raiders.
I feel like the Raiders are a lot like the Miami in terms of college. Are the Raiders back? Are the Raiders back? I think the Raiders are back.
I hope they're back.
I think they're back.
I like it when Oakland's good.
They're
it's fun.
They're kind of back, but at the same time, they also just very unimpressively, their win against the Dolphins was very iffy to say the least. I mean, I can't exactly say it was a impressive win, but look, good for the Raiders. They're currently sitting at 4-5. I think that at a peak right now, the best record this team could probably reach is 9-7, but they're going to have to go 5-2 over the next 7 games. It is.
It's a tough schedule the rest of the way for the Oakland Raiders.
Also, remember, they lose a home game because they have to go play the Patriots in Mexico City, and that's a home game for them. So they do miss that on the schedule. That could be a potential big home game for them.
Look, I want to believe that Oakland can make the playoffs. I think they can, but especially in an AFC West that's not as good as the NFC right now in terms of those teams 4-8. It's just not the same. So they've got a chance, but 4 teams missed it every year after making it last year. Oakland, I think, is in decent shape to be one of those teams this year.
And also,
it's a tough spot for them.
And again, it's kind of like with the Ravens. If you look at their points per game and how many points they give up, it's almost even, which tells me average football team. So I hope the Raiders can kind of get out of this funk, but as of right now, this is an 8-8 team.
Mm-hmm. We'll keep it rolling now to number 15 on our list. Harris, team I know you don't believe in. It's the Atlanta Falcons at 15.
It's one of the Atlanta frauds. Let me tell you something about this Atlanta Falcons team, Tom. They don't really have a direction as an offense right now, because if you look at their team last year, they ran the ball so much that it was almost as if they were a run-first team, despite the fact that Matt Ryan won the MVP trophy. I know it's crazy to say, but they ran the ball so much that they just had so much versatility in offense. They don't run the ball anymore. They don't do play action. They do a lot of passing out of the shotgun with a running back in a draw set right next to Matt Ryan. So usually Devonta Freeman or Tevin Coleman stays in the block. So now all of a sudden it's Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu, and like Taylor Gabriel going against three normal guys. It's just very basic. It's boring. And look, that total offense number is very deceiving. 6th in total offense in terms of yards. 17th in points per game.
Not finishing in the red zone in turnovers.
They have huge issues. And also, I remember I mentioned this at the end of last season when I first started coming on shows for Chat Sports. I told you that Matt Ryan's career numbers are closer to Andy Dalton's than they are to Tom Brady's.
Well, yeah.
And he has gone so far back to his career numbers that the entire team just sucks.
I blame it's all on Steve Sarkisian.
I think I've
said it before.
Ryan. I think Matt Ryan also isn't playing well.
Sark needs to go. I think Sark needs to be fired, and I've said that for weeks now.
I think
he's
you're
done
right.
a terrible job as a coordinator.
I think you're right, but I also think that Matt Ryan cannot be absolved the blame here. He just also, like for instance, in that game against the Patriots, he just missed a ton of throws. He just missed them. So I think a lot of it also is going him, and also, I know we don't talk ill of him very often. Julio Jones needs to get his act together.
He does.
Because I think a lot of the reason that this team has also not been great this year, whether or not he's getting open or this or that, whatever, clearly Julio Jones is not playing as well as he did last year.
The drop was brutal.
Clearly. I think he needs to get his head back in the game.
All right, we'll keep it rolling then to number 14. At number 14, Harris, a team that I very much like and believe in, the Tennessee Titans.
A Titans team that I actually believe in, Tom, because I think that when it starts getting colder outside and they have to start going on the road, that it's going to be an advantage to them, the fact that they can run the ball so well. And Tom, it's always important to be able to stop the run. I think the Titans actually do a very good job of stopping the run. 10th in the NFL in rushing yards per game, averaging only 97 yards total as a team per game that they've given up on defense. So if you can stop the run and run the ball well yourself with DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry, you're going to do pretty well in the NFL. And I think that right now, that offensive line has played so well that it's keeping them in football games.
3 straight wins right now for Tennessee. And had they had Marcus Mariota against the Dolphins, I think we both agree they win that game probably handily. And at that point, we're not talking about a 5-3. Can they make the playoffs? Titans team is about they're 6-2. Are they a top 4 team in the AFC? Not just barely making the playoffs.
Well, it's difficult because I don't know if you can make an argument right now that they're even the best team in their division.
Jags have a very strong case there. I understand.
So the Titans do end up. I don't even think the Titans and Jags. No, the Titans. And Jags haven't even played each other yet this year. They might have played each other once so far this year, but that second matchup is going to be really, really big for the Titans. I think that they're going to need to win that game if they have any chance of winning the division. So the Titans won the first game. That was kind of pre-woke Jaguars. That was pre-woke Jaguars. The Jaguars are not woke. So we'll see.
I'm just going to ignore you and your slang terms here.
We'll see. That second matchup is going to be big for both their seasons.
Right. We'll keep it rolling then to number 13. Whatever you say, Harris. Yeah. On our NFL Power Rankings, fresh off a surprising upset win, the Washington Redskins.
They are the second most overrated team in football.
Behind whom?
We'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get to them.
Oh, God. You have another bad hot take.
It's not a bad hot take. So the Washington Redskins are a good football team. Like, they're all right. Like, the defense is fine. It's really young. The offense is okay. But
they're a 9-7, 8-18. That's who they are.
Who's better, Tom? The Redskins team last year or the Redskins team this year?
Oh, they're the same.
I don't know. I think it would be a tie.
They're the same.
I think they would tie each other, just like
different pieces. Obviously, maybe they're a little bit better, but
just like the tie they had last year that made them 7-8-1. It would make so that they can't have a 500 season. They would have another tie. Like this isn't an overly ambitious football team. Like they're 14th in the NFL in points per game. Their defense causes turnovers, but they don't get a lot of sacks. Their yardage is kind of all over the place. Redskins are an okay team. I think the win against the Seahawks was a good win. However, I think if they played that game 99 more times, the Seahawks are going to win 90 of those games. So I think it was more of a random flash than it was a teaser for the rest of the year.
Let's get into the top 12 then now on our NFL Power Rankings. The team coming off a very disappointing loss. The Buffalo Bills got taken to the woodshed by the Jets on Thursday night.
It's unfortunate because no matter how many Kelvin Benjamins you add, this Buffalo Bills team is a one-trick pony. It's can we run the football and can we stop the run? If we run the football well, we might win a game. And if we stop the run well, we're going to keep their team off the field. And that's the only way this team is going to win games. And then that's my issue with Tyrod Taylor. It's always been my issue with Tyrod Taylor. I don't know if he can win you football games. He can be serviceable enough that he can be a part of games, but when you need him to make throws and you need him to win a football game, I'm a little iffy about whether or not Tyrod Taylor is the guy who can do it. I think having them at 12 is probably fair. I mean, I had them at 13. I just think
AP style is how we do this.
Yes.
Everyone on the chat sports staff gets a vote. We put them all together. The average is what wins out. And I have them at 11, so it all evened out.
Our own Cam Rogers has them at 14. And I think that as we get on with the year, I think the Bills are going to trend towards 9-7, 8-8.
I think they're going to win 9 games. I think that's enough to get them in the playoffs. The AFC is not that good this year. Unless Oakland or the Chargers get going.
I find that there's going to be 6 decent AFC teams this year, but it's going to do this. You're going to have 6 teams, and then it's just going to bottom out. So it'll be tough, mostly because the AFC South is a little bit stronger this year than I anticipated, and the AFC West has probably maybe 2 playoff teams in it at least. So we'll see what ends up happening with the wild card, but the Buffalo Bills might just get that second wild card spot.
Let's head now to number 11 on our NFL Power Rankings. At number 11, Harris, the Seattle Seahawks, fresh off a surprising and disappointing loss at home to the Redskins.
I'm not worried at all. I would be more worried if I didn't get the same fear that I do every year. You want to know what that fear is? The fear of any NFC team having to go into Seattle in January. Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson,
Harris,
never lost a home playoff
Harris,
game.
that sounds like a you problem, not an NFL problem.
I'm telling you, look, you can say what you want about the NFC.
It's
but
good.
Look at the teams that are currently playoff teams right now, okay? Los Angeles Rams, warm weather team. New Orleans Saints, dome team. Eagles team, inexperienced in the playoffs. Those are your 3 teams right now that might have to play a playoff game.
Vikings.
In Seattle. And the Vikings, great, a dome team.
But now, Northern Dome
Oh,
team.
great. Yeah, they play inside in 72-degree weather. Those teams now have to travel to Seattle to play a home game in Seattle.
You say that. Are you sure Seattle's going to do enough in the regular season to get that?
Well, they're going to be 8-3 when they play the Eagles. I'm fairly certain they're going to be 8-3. They're going to win the next 3 games. They have a cupcake schedule for the next 3 weeks. So they're 8-3 against the Eagles.
This just makes me hope that they lose one, so you have to eat crow on
I'm
there.
hoping that the Eagles will lose one more game, so that by the time they play the Seahawks, it'll be a 2-loss Eagles team versus a 3-loss Seahawks team. And we'll actually be able to have like an NFC deciding game.
I don't know if the Eagles are going to have another loss
But
until then.
I still think that this Seahawks team is going to A, win their division, and B, one of the top 2 seeds in the NFC. So I think they're still the team to beat in the NFC. I really do. Until the Eagles can prove that they can beat the Seahawks in Seattle, there isn't really much they can do. Weigh in for you guys. Are the Seahawks overrated? I don't think they are. I honestly think that they're kind of perfectly rated. They lost a wild game, but for the most part, I think the Seahawks will be just fine.
I think they're a little bit overrated because I think there was a certain member currently on this show who was adamant Seattle was number 1 before the year started.
That was me.
Yeah, it was you. So I'm gonna.
Well, number 2, because we were all adamant the Patriots are number 1.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
That was after
yeah,
the
we, yeah,
Patriots.
we did kind of back you down a little bit there. You wanted them higher. I couldn't get to this
Until
way.
they lose.
That's why we started doing AP style on
Until
on
the
this show.
Seattle
It's literally
Seahawks
why.
lose a home playoff game with Pete Carroll, they will always be the team to beat in the NFC for me. Because I'm sorry, like no matter how many good teams have come through the NFC,
they don't always
the
play
Seahawks
every
remain.
game at home. That's what happens the last 2
they
years.
are the
haven't
White
made it up
Walk.
every
They
season.
are the White Walkers
All right.
of the NFL.
All right,
They
well-
can't be killed. They can't be killed. They're there every year.
Producer Lena likes that joke. I don't really care too much for it. So, all right, next up here, we'll head now to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They check in at number 10, something no one saw coming, Harris. That's not, no one predicted this, except for maybe some diehard and possibly delusional Jags fans.
I love it. I'm really pumped about this Jaguars team. I look forward to watching them play football every week, and to be totally honest, Tom, I never thought I would ever say that about the Jacksonville Jaguars. But this team is legitimate because if you look at their offensive defensive splits, they only give up 14 points a game on defense, and they score almost 24. So they average beating teams by a score of 24-14. That's great. That's great. That's what you want as an NFL football team. Like, they run the ball really well. They have the best corner duo maybe in the NFL right now. What happened to the Jags? This is great. This is awesome.
Whatever you say.
Whenever you look at like NFLs and like weird roster turnovers, whatever, think about who's good. The Rams are really good now. The Jaguars are really good. The Titans are a playoff team. The Bills are 5-3. Look at this turnover. This is great.
All right, we'll keep it rolling then deeper into our top 10 here. At number 9, Harris, it is the Carolina Panthers. Is this supposed to be your bad hot take?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I do have a hot take about this Panthers team, however. I think that this Panthers team is going, somehow by the end of the year, is going to have 10 wins. We're going to look back at this roster and be like, oh my God, the Carolina Panthers have 10 wins. How did the Carolina Panthers get 10 wins? Well, the Carolina Panthers are going to get 10 wins, and they might actually win their division, which is just wild because the offense is rough. Like, I'm sorry, the 21st in the NFL in offense really doesn't like show how iffy their offense has been this year. I think their offense is a little bit more where they are in points per game, which is 24th, which is barely at 18 points a game. So
that's bad, man.
It's not good.
Defense is good.
We're going to wake up at the end of the year, and the Panthers are going to have 10 or 11 wins, and we're going to be smacking ourselves in the foreheads wondering how the heck Cam Newton dragged this team to 10 wins. We'll see.
Let's recap the power rankings so far for those of you just now joining us. The Browns are at 32. The Niners are at 31. The Giants at 30. The Bucks are the last, round out the bottom 4. The Colts at 28, the Bengals are at 27, the Cardinals are 26th, and the Bears are at number 25. The Houston Texans are 24th, followed by the Dolphins, Broncos, and then the Packers at 21. The Jets are at 20, the Ravens are at 19, the Chargers are at 18, the Lions are at 17. The Oakland Raiders are at 16, the Falcons check in at 15, Titans at 14, Redskins at 13, then the Bills are at 12, the Seahawks are down at number 11, the Jags are at number 10, and the Carolina Panthers are at number 9. Harris, that moves us then into our top 8 teams, and that number 8 team I think is going to change next week. The Dallas Cowboys. I think it's going to change.
Man,
this was done based on Elliot playing.
Do you know what, Tom? I was going to tell you this before the Zeke suspension came. This is one of my 4 hot takes that I had. I only have 3. We've already gone through 2. My third hot take of this show was going to be that the Dallas Cowboys are not the 8th best team in the NFL. They're not the 7th best team. They're actually one of the 5 best teams in football going into this week.
I actually disagree with you, but okay.
The NFL, like I've said before, runs through 2 things. How good is your quarterback, how good is your coaching, and how good is your line play. You can make an argument that right now the Cowboys have the best combo offensive and defensive line in the NFL. I think it's very difficult to find a team that has as good of a combo as they do on both sides of the ball, and that is how you win playoff games. And I'm sorry, this Cowboys team, before the Ezekiel suspension went down, they got their stuff together on offense. The defense came together. The secondary started to play well. I mean, they played great against the Chiefs. They held them to 17 points. I think that this Dallas Cowboys team was on the precipice of being one of the best teams in football. I think that is a shame that Zeke's going to be out for 6 games now.
Well, we mentioned that here, folks. We do have a little bit of new news here for you about Ezekiel Elliot. They have set the appeal date. Remember, the actual appeal has been set. December 1st is when Elliott's expedited appeal will occur. That's when we know for sure if the suspension gets tossed out and all that. But unfortunately for Zeke, he's going to miss at least 4 games then because the Cowboys play the Falcons, the Eagles, Chargers, and Redskins. So those 4 games, Zeke will not play. What this means is maybe if Zeke wins, he can come back and play the Giants and the Raiders.
And I mean,
the two games, like the Cowboys maybe feel the most confident about.
To be totally, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, those are probably their two easiest games that they were going to play. But now that we have that in option, Tom, I have a question for you, and we'll have this question for the rest of our people at home as well. Are the Cowboys a playoff team? Will they make the playoffs without him?
I do not think so. I think without Zeke, I think they win. I think they lose to Atlanta. They're going to lose to the Eagles. I thought they're going to lose that game probably anyway. Toss up for the Chargers, toss up for the Redskins. They beat the Giants. If the Raiders are playing well, that's a road game for Dallas. I don't think they win that game. I think they win 2 games, and they end up being a game shy.
I think they end up being 3-3. I think they'll be 8-5 after this week, and I think that they'll win 3 of their last. That's bad math. They'll end up being. They get 3 wins. They'll be 8
wins.
and 5. Got it. No, 8-6. I can't do math. Look, at this point,
that was embarrassing, sir.
At this point, I think they're going to need to sweep their last 3 games of the season in order to make it to the playoffs, because I really think they're only going to win about 2 or 3 games in this stretch.
Well, we'll keep it rolling then, folks, into teams that haven't just lost perhaps their best player of the season. We'll keep it rolling now. Next up on our NFL Power Rankings at number 7, the Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, this is your hot take, isn't it?
No, this isn't actually my hot take. I have a better hot take coming up.
I'm teasing this
My whole concept with this Chiefs team just comes down to the fact that, look what happens when the Chiefs weren't able to run the ball. Look whose responsibility it was to win them games. And look who couldn't win them games. Alex Smith. And which is exactly why I said at the beginning of the year that this whole Alex Smith for MVP jargon is a bunch of nonsense. Because every single time, this has been years now in the making, every single time they need Alex Smith to win them football games, he has been completely unable to win them football games. This has been every single year since he has been on the Chiefs. Hey, Alex, our run game is struggling. Jamal Charles is hurt. Go win us a football game. Hey, our running game isn't doing it for us in a playoff game. Go score touchdowns. Hasn't been able to do it. I'm sorry. His completion percentage, Mazel tov, your completion percentage above 70%, but they've lost, 3 of their last 4 games because Alex Smith has not been able to win them football games when they have needed him to most. It's been the same thing every year. I'm not surprised at all.
Do you think KC wins the AFC West, Harris?
Yes, mostly because it is devoid of another team that could possibly win it. Who else is going to win it?
They're a little too far behind right now. Both are the Chargers, Raiders, and Broncos.
Our defense is bad. We can't stop Ezekiel Elliot. Hey, Alex Smith, can you win us a football game? You have Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Kareem Hunt, Chris Conley. 17 points. Nice.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't believe in Alex Smith.
I actually think it's a defense right now. The defense is not good.
It's not good.
Defense without Eric Berry, it's just not a good defense. Plain and simple.
I just find it so interesting. We've had his name in the same category as the Drew Breeses, the Carson Wentzes, and the Tom Bradys of the world. And when push came to shove, again, as Alex Smith has always done, he cannot do it when it counts. Always. It has always been his MO.
All right, we'll keep it rolling then to number 6 on our NFL Power Rankings. It is the Los Angeles Rams. Harris,
look at the Rams.
You're all aboard the Rams.
Look at the Rams.
I
still don't think they're going to win the division because they already lost that game to the Seahawks in LA, and now they're going to probably lose them in Seattle. And I don't think you're going to be able to win the division without beating the best team in that division twice. So, but I don't really care because if the Rams make the playoffs, they're going to win their wild card matchup, and it's going to be awesome. I think that this is going to be a dangerous team to play in the playoffs because you don't really know what you're going to get from week-to-week basis because they had a couple games where their offense struggled with like 10 points, and then there's games where they drop a 50-burger on the road. Like, this team is super fun because you never know what you're going to get. Are they going to beat you with Goff? Are they going to beat you with Watkins? Are they going to beat you with Todd Gurley?
Robert Woods.
And do you know what we haven't had yet this year? We haven't had a Tavon Austin game, and you know that's coming at some point this year.
Is it though?
It's coming. It had Tom.
Okay.
Every year of his career, he's had one game every year that
everyone
he's won.
picks fantasy.
One game every year.
Okay.
This has to happen. So eventually he'll have his game. This Rams team winning double-digit games is so awesome.
Is it a compliment to Sean McVay, or is it like, oh my God, Jeff Fisher, how bad were you?
No, this is all McVay. Go listen to Todd Gurley. For my money, is one of the smartest players in the NFL. High football IQ, very down-to-earth guy. The dude talks about Sean McVay as if he is literally his own father, which is stunning based off of if you go listen to what Gurley had always had to say about Jeff Fisher and the disdain that he was always have whenever he had to talk about Jeff Fisher. It's a complete turnaround. I think McVay has changed the culture of this franchise. By the way, I have a couple friends who live in Los Angeles. They are crazy about this team. I understand that the Coliseum, it's tough. It's 90,000 people on a Sunday in the afternoon. That's tough for any LA team to fill. But the attention span that is being paid on this Los Angeles team is much, much higher than I think people understand nationally. Los Angeles likes this football team.
All right. That's a good thing for LA because I don't think they like the Chargers at all.
They don't. That's what I'm also being told.
All right, into the top 5 then. At number 5, it is the Minnesota Vikings, Harris.
I'm always disgusted that I have them at 5. I feel like they should be higher somehow because
I think this is proper for them.
It probably is, but at the same time, I think this team is also better than what they've been playing. But it doesn't matter because Tom, he's back. He lives. He exists. Teddy Bridgewater is back. Teddy Bridgewater is back at the NFL. And Case Keenum's going to mess up eventually, and his number's going to get called, Tom. And Teddy Bridgewater is going to be put back in the lineup. And he's stronger. He's faster. His teammates are saying that they've never seen Teddy Bridgewater be able to throw the ball this hard. Yes, they should play Teddy Bridgewater over Case Keenum. Come on, Teddy. Welcome back. I'm so excited that Teddy Bridgewater is back.
Maybe let him breathe a
come
little
on.
bit. Just
no.
Ease him into
He's
it,
ready.
man. No, ease him into it. Ease him into it.
I'm
because
so excited.
I can't believe I'm saying this. Case Keenum has actually kind of looked okay and not terrible, and that's really weird for me to hear out loud.
He's been good. He's been good enough for them to win football games because the defense is fantastic. But I by the end of the year, Tom, Teddy Bridgewater will be the starting QB of this team again, and I think they will be one of the best teams in football.
I hope you're right because A, I love Teddy. I'm a huge Teddy fan. B, I don't think Case Keenum can win the Vikings a Super Bowl. Maybe Teddy Bridgewater can't because of his injury, but I think he's got a better upside than Case Keenum does. So that's just my belief there. We'll keep it rolling here from number 5 to number 4. And at number 4, Harris, one of the hottest teams in the NFL, the New Orleans Saints.
Ooh, a hot team. Very fun.
Yeah.
All right, hot take for you, Tom. This is the most overrated team in football.
No, of course you picked the Saints.
You want to know why, Tom? Every year we have the team I like to call the cupcake. You want to know why, Tom? Here are the teams that the Saints have beat over the past 6 weeks. A bad Panthers team. A bad Dolphins team.
I dispute Carolina, sir.
Let me get a bad Lions team. A Green Bay team without Aaron Rodgers. A Chicago Bears team. And a horrible Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. Do you know how many good wins are on that list?
I see 2.
A fat donut.
No.
0.
I cannot believe you are disrespecting top 10 Carolina Panthers teams.
0.
Why are you disrespecting
0
Carolina
good
like
wins.
that?
This is the team.
No.
Tom, they will go to the playoffs. This is a playoff team because their division is garbage. They're going to go to the playoffs and get absolutely run over by a good football team. They might lose this week to the Bills. I'm serious.
It's a road game. That's a tough matchup.
Every single year, we have an NFL team that plays above their pay grade because they have the easiest schedule in football. I'm sorry. Last year, it was the Dallas Cowboys, and they lost in the playoffs. They got rolled over. Again, this year, the team with the easy schedule are the New Orleans Saints. They're going to go to the playoffs, and they're going to get rolled over. Every year, we have this team. They are the team. They are my cupcake team of 2017.
The past 2 years, I have been anti-Saints, and I've drawn ire on shows and in articles from Saints fans because I didn't believe in them, because the defense wasn't good enough. Guess what, Harris? Now the defense is. So Saints fans, who dat? I got your back. Harris, you are wrong, my friend.
Dude,
you are wrong.
It's
a good team.
Their next 3 games, mind you, Saints fans, at Buffalo, home versus the Redskins, at the Rams. They might win one of those games.
And they will win at least one. They will probably win 2.
They might win one game. Might.
And then you forget the end of their schedule: Carolina, Atlanta, Jets, Carolina.
It's why they're going to make the playoffs.
They're going to be a great team.
They're going to make the
playoffs.
playoffs.
A great team. I could not disagree with you more, Harris. We are not going to talk after the show. You're going to be in timeout for me. We'll keep it rolling then to number 3 on our NFL Power Rankings. Saw a couple comments on this one. The Pittsburgh Steelers are at number 3.
It never gets old, does it? Here we go again.
Pittsburgh good, yeah.
It's November.
Yeah.
And, the Steelers and the Patriots at the top of the AFC. What a surprise.
It's a compliment to how good Pittsburgh
it's
is.
the same thing every year. Though I have to say,
The defense is better
the
this year.
defense is better this year.
Which, by the way, is actually why I had them at number 2, folks.
And I have to say, Tom,
I had them at 2.
I would be, I would be a hypocrite if I didn't bring this up. I don't care about total defense. That total defense number means nothing to me. Do you know what number means a lot to me?
Points
They're
allowed,
second in the NFL
points
in points per game.
There you go. All
They're
right.
second in the
there you go.
NFL.
Yeah.
So they only give up, they're not as good as Jacksonville. Jacksonville gives up like 14 points a game. 16 points a game for
It's like
Pittsburgh.
playing the Dolphins every week.
You're trying to, basically, no, that's literally what it is. They turn every offense into the Dolphins. If you're trying to tell me that an offense made up of Big Ben, Juju Smith-Schuster, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, Martavis Bryant, Jesse James can't put up more than 16 points in a game, you're crazy. So that's why this Steelers team is good, because the defense is finally not allowing points. And I think that game against the Lions 2 weeks ago was perfect. 5 field goals in 5 red zone trips for the Detroit Lions. That's what this Steelers team has been doing all year long. They are one of the best red zone defense teams in the NFL. Might just be the best red zone defense team in the NFL. So I think this Steelers team is performing way above what I thought they would.
Well, I think everyone watching can figure out who number 2 is based on process of elimination. At number 2, the highest rated AFC team, the New England Patriots. Harris, I will let you do your little spiel here.
I don't have really.
I just want to say I did not have them at 2. I have the Steelers ahead of them because I don't trust this defense.
I don't have a
Defense
massive.
is bad.
I don't have a massive. I don't think they're bad. I think they're middle of the pack, which is all they need to be, because this is the best offense in football. So if the offense, for instance, the defense that the Patriots won the Super Bowl with last year, it wasn't amazing. It was all right. It was a decent team. I had a huge problem with turnovers, but it didn't matter because the offense was incredible. So now take basically the same defense. I mean, they're literally league average in points allowed. They average like 22 points a game given up. But look at their offense. They just added Martellus Bennett to already the number 1 offense in football by a considerable margin. Or excuse me, number 2 offense, because the Rams score a lot of points against bad teams. But, did we really not expect them to be here?
No, I expect them to be.
Yeah,
I just voted a different way because I don't think they're a top 2 team in the NFL.
But
That's just me.
I might agree. Do you know what, Tom? I'll say this. I think the Patriots and the Steelers right now are neck and neck. I think they're equal. The reason I will never be able to put the Steelers ahead of the Patriots quite yet, they have to prove they can beat them. Over the past couple of years, the Steelers have just proven they cannot beat the Patriots at all. So until they can beat them, you can't be ahead of them. And that's just been the problem.
It's a new year.
They can't beat them.
It's a new year.
All right, fair enough. We'll see. They play later this year.
That's fine. Let's get then to number 1. I think everyone in the comments saw this coming. There were some Eagles fans waiting. Here you guys go. When you're good, you have to wait for your team. The Philadelphia Eagles, Harris, are number 1.
They've been playing great, but here we go, Tom. We have now officially crossed into the second half of the year. Now, we have an employee at Chat Sports by the name of Jack Ross. Jack Ross is a New York Giants fan. And I was talking to him on the phone the other day, and I was asking him about the Eagles, and he just kind of started to giggle at me. Jack, what's so funny? He's like, you're sold on the Eagles. And I said, of course I am. They have Carson Wentz, the best quarterback in football right now. Do you know what he said? He said, the Eagles to you, or the Eagles to me, are like the Bills to you. Every year, people get so hyped over them. Oh, look how great they are. And then the second half, they come crashing back down to earth.
I just find it funny that,
I hope they're better.
With this
see.
With this Eagles team, it was after the first 2 games. Well, they did this last year. Let's see how they go.
They did.
After the first month. Well, they did this last year. Let's see how they go. Now they're 8-1, and we're like, oh, they do that sometimes. Let's see if they're any good. Let's just believe that the Eagles are a good team.
Here, Tom, let's just do that. I'll say this much. I do. I believe they are a good team. I do. I believe
the best team in the NFL.
I agree with that. They're the best team in football right now. They're 8-1. Carson Wentz would win the MVP right now if the season ended today. They would. 100% agree. But they lost so many games in the second half last year.
No, they started hot. They went 3-0, and then they just tapered off, and then they ended the year
At one point, they lost 7 of 8.
Yeah, but this whole thing has changed from they start.
This is a better
The first
team.
month they go well, and then now it's going to become in the second half of the year they're not good.
Totally fair.
Everyone keeps moving the goalposts on this team. This is just a great team. Let's just accept it.
I'm waiting for the Eagles to do what the Eagles do best, and that is fold. They do this all the time. They've been the Eagles team that hasn't folded in the second half since Donovan McNabb. Name one.
Look, this is a
haven't.
totally different team with all new pieces and
Every
coaches.
Eagles team is different. Tom, I think this is the best team in the NFC has right now. I agree with you.
NFL.
Fine. But I'll say this. Until the Eagles go a full season of being one of the best teams in football, then they can be dubbed as a consistent performer. But you want to know how the Seahawks got the moniker of me always being afraid of them in the playoffs? Because every single year for the past, 8 years, they've been unbeatable in December.
It has to happen
unbeatable
at
in the
some
playoffs
point.
at home.
So let's do it this year. They have to do it at some
We'll see.
point. All right. For those of you who have missed the rankings, here they are. The Browns at 32, the 49ers at 31, the Giants at 30, and the Bucks at number 29. The Colts are at number 28, the Bengals are at 27, the Cardinals at 26, and the Bears at 25. Houston's 24th, followed by the Dolphins, Broncos, and the Green Bay Packers. The Jets are at number 20, the Ravens at 19, the Chargers at 18, the Lions at number 17, the Raiders check in at 16, the Falcons are at 15, followed up by the Titans and the Washington Redskins. The Buffalo Bills are at number 12, the Seahawks are at number 11, the Jags are at number 10, followed up by the Panthers at number 9. Then it's the now Ezekiel Elliot-less Dallas Cowboys at 8. They are sure to drop going forward. The Chiefs at 7, the Rams at 6, the Vikings at 5, and then your top 4, the Saints, the Steelers, the Patriots, and the Eagles.
And as I say every week, Tom, I'm on the power rankings. Next week, one of the top 4 will be gone, like it has every single week this year.
Last week it was the Chiefs, by the way.
There you go.
So you're right
Chiefs
about
are
that.
gone. Every single week we lose a top 4 team. It's going to be the Saints. So we'll see what happens.
All right, folks, I'm Tom Downey. That was Harris. If you missed anything, we're going to play it all over again for you guys, so don't go anywhere. But that is it for us on NFL Daily. You guys stay classy out there.